Hey there, it's me Eden. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to share with you cross-dressing story called Neighbor Caught Me, Part 7. So, if you're new to the channel, then please consider subscribing to get a new story every day. And please support my work on Patreon and get early access to the content. Patreon.com/Eden07. I almost leaped across that small table. I was so happy. Standing there like that, I was surprised when Dad stood up, opened his arms, and I fell into his grasp, bawling like a baby. I felt his hands caressing my hair as he held me tight against him. There was no sound, nothing to interfere, and with my head hard against his chest, I could hear his heart pounding, the soft throb pulsing against my ear. I had no thought other than the one that kept telling me that my dad, the one person I admire the most, needed the most, had overcome his dislike and accepted me just like I was. He didn't say it, but male or female, pants or skirts aside, he had managed to bridge the gap between dislike and love, then find a way to tell me. Softly, almost a whisper. I don't like what you're doing, you know that, don't you? I nodded my head yes. Your mother tells me that whatever is driving you this way, you really don't have a choice, which means neither do we. She said that even if you quit right now, you would simply wait until you graduated and start up again. He pushed me back but held my arms as he looked me right in the face. A parent always loves their child, no matter what happens, so don't even consider that we don't love you. We were just having some trouble accepting the fact that you want to become a girl. He let me go, then, do you remember my motto? Since I had heard it from birth, how could I forget? Conviction, honor, compassion and conscience, Dad said softly. If you have the conviction of your beliefs, which you know are true, then you honor those convictions with a clear conscience, and have compassion for yourself and others as you carry out those convictions. He sat back in his seat and looked at me with a plain face. If you are convinced that this is right for you, Dad went on, then you have no choice but to honor yourself by being true to yourself. If your conscience is clear, then you have to do what is right, but compassion for yourself must come first or you'll become unable to cope with life or have compassion for others. Dad paused as we both considered what he had said. I had not looked at life like that. Years of being driven only by a need that clouded all of the options on my horizon would not let me see beyond my immediate needs. Tell me again, he asked, is this really what you want? I slowly nodded my head yes, while he looked directly into my eyes. This means that we won't have any grandchildren, someone to carry on the family line. Dad paused, then suddenly said, I think it was Oscar Wilde that said the only way to get rid of temptation is to yield to it. You've done that, Diane. You have become a lovely young girl, but now you have to prove to everyone that you are right, which means that we have to tell the rest of the family, since we just can't have you just pop up out of nowhere. I know that, Dad. Any suggestions? He asked. The 4th of July get-together? Yes. He said with a grin, I'll let everyone know ahead of time. You can wear something summery? A stray thought hit me right out of the blue, so I mentioned it. You do know that they can take eggs from a fertile woman and freeze them? Of course. Dad sounded questioning. Why not take some of Mom's eggs, freeze them, then, if I do get married someday, maybe the doctors could implant them. That way our family line will continue? I'll talk to your mother. He said, then, when can I meet this boy that's just a friend? I can call him, I said, maybe later? I hugged him back, then, Daddy? Yes, honey. I love you. "And I love you too," he said. "Just be the kind woman you know you can be and your mother insists you were meant to be." "She said that?" I asked. "She told me there wasn't any doubt in her mind, honey, but like me, she doesn't understand why." "I don't understand it either, Dad. If I didn't have to do this, why would I risk everything to say that I did? I just don't feel like I have a choice." Mom came to get us, and together we had a small lunch, then Dad took my car to fill it with gas. As Mom and I did the few dishes, she asked me how it went with Dad. "As if you didn't know," I said with a grin. "He told me that you both agreed that I had to attend some kind of charm school, which means that he was yanking me around before he seemingly gave in." "Your father didn't just give in, honey. He hates what you're doing, a whole lot more than he lets on, but he is doing his very best to try and understand what's driving you. He thinks this is insane. He thinks that you are giving up all of the privileges and rights men have, to become what he thinks of as second." "I don't think of it like that, Mom. I know that, dear, and I don't feel second best either, but from his point of view, women serve men. We bear the children, we keep the house, we type their letters, in other words, we serve the men. But you should know by now that under all that armor he wears, there is a pussycat in there, Diane. He sounds gruff sometimes, but underneath all that, all he ever wanted is what's best for us, especially you, but I think you knew that already. If that means his son has to become his daughter, and that's the best thing for everyone, he'll agree, and for him, swallowing what he sees as a bitter pill is what he'll do, and it doesn't matter if he likes it. He'll do what he has to do because it's the right thing, but if you thought that he likes the idea of you as a girl, you would be very wrong. He gave in because it has obviously become the right thing to do." Mom took me by the hands, and facing me, said, "That means that you'll have to become the girl you say you are. You need to be the kind of woman he would expect his daughter to be, every time he sees you. If you want to convince him it's the right decision, that is. Honey, if this was a part-time thing he could maybe accept it easier, but none of us are so naive that we don't know where this will most likely lead, so let's not kid ourselves." Mom's face went soft, her eyes growing wider. "Then, you have to let your father do things for you, Diane. It's the only way he knows how to say that he loves you. He huffs and puffs a lot, but regardless of what you wear or how you look, his love for you, well, that will never change. Your father loves you with every bone in his body, and only wants you to be happy and successful in life. He just doesn't know how to say it very well, which is why he raised your allowance and gave you some conditions. That's about all he can do because he doesn't know what else to do. But make no mistake, he'll be watching you very carefully. You made this decision on your own, Diane. Now you have to prove not only to yourself, but to both of us, that you are right. He said that our family line would stop if I become a girl mom. I think he's really angry about that. That's why I suggested a way that might not happen. He also wants me to come to the annual 4th of July party so that everyone in the family can see me for themselves. I said that I would be there, but I think that's a wonderful idea. Your grandma will choke a little, but she'll get over it, and those two buffoons you have for cousins are certainly going to give you a hard time, but you knew that before you agreed to be there. I still think it's a wonderful idea, Diane. Bring a pair of shorts, or maybe a swimsuit just in case. Maybe that will take the wind out of their sails when they see you in something that is very feminine. There was no conundrum for me. I found out that I wanted to be a girl more than anything, and my parents, while not exactly happy about it, were going to let me have the chance to do just that. Charm school would only help me, and as silly as it sounded when Dad said it, wearing a skirt would not diffuse my grade point average, so I didn't feel as if I were in a closed room with no escape. My only real task would be to convince my dad that he made the right decision. We finished the dishes, then Mom casually handed me a credit card with the name Diane on it. I ordered it right after I got home. It has a limit, of course, but we want you to use it to get what you need. More clothes perhaps, or maybe have your beard removed. Whatever you think best. Mom, calmly sitting at the small table, opened her purse, then gave me a list of things she thought I should get. There wasn't one thing on her list that I didn't have on mine. At my suggestion and with Mom's approval, I called Bill and asked him to come over, telling him that I needed him to meet some people. I did not say who. I was afraid he might take it wrong. Mom and I talked while we waited for one or both to arrive, either Bill or Dad, but Marcy showed up instead. She joined us at the table just about the time Dad returned, telling me that he filled my car and had it washed and the oil changed. About 5 minutes later Bill arrived. When I introduced him to Dad, it was like watching two bulls face off, a side that I had never seen in either my father or Bill before. Both were pleasant, of course, but with a visual wariness that comes from one protecting the family while the newer, younger one looked like he wanted to make a claim. I didn't know that then, only later when Marcy explained it to me. In my mind, I thought everything was just peachy. With stunned confusion on my part, my dad turned into an investigator of sorts, peppering Bill with all sorts of questions until Mom finally put an end to it, first telling Dad that she wanted to go out that night, someplace nice, and with the next breath, asked Bill and Marcy to join us. Marcy declined, saying that she had a date. I went to change clothes, leaving Mom and Dad alone. I heard the murmur of their voices, but didn't listen in, afraid of what I might hear. I wore the cute black cocktail dress that Mom insisted I buy, with black heels and gold jewelry. With the neckline so low, I thought Dad was going to choke when he saw me, but Mom held him in check while slyly grinning at me. By wearing a dress that displayed at least some of my charms, I had made my point, and Dad got it, right between the eyes. As it turned out, both Dad and Bill got along just fine that night, and by the time my parents left for home late the next day, Dad and I had come to an unspoken understanding. I was going to do my very best to be the kind of daughter he would expect, and he was going to try and be the best father a girl could ask for. Bill did not fit into my calculations other than as a friend, but he continued to make me worry about my self-imposed denial about men, especially when I saw the way he looked at me the night when we went to dinner together. Dad was his usual polite self, although the undercurrent of doubt running around the table never abated. Wary, Dad still did his best to put us at ease, but I was the one worrying the most. Regardless of what Dad said, by dismissing my entire life as a boy only to start a new one as a girl, I had cast doubt about not only myself, but my parents as well. Did they do something wrong? Did they miss something early on in my life? Was there some defect in my system? The list could go on, but the die was cast, and we were about to embark on a journey into the unknown realm of new family relationships, whether we wanted to or not, all because I wanted to be a girl. I started charm school a week later, learning a lot of things that gave me confidence in myself, an ease of my internal tensions, and a much better outlook on life. My makeup got better, the way I dressed became more tasteful, I lost weight, and my mannerisms became better, almost as good as those of girls my age. About a month later, true to his word, I received a packet of new documents in the mail from Dad. My name had been legally changed to Diane Elaine, Elaine being my paternal grandmother's middle name. Along with the packet came a request for me to have some portrait pictures taken, which I did. Over that summer everything about me changed as I became more relaxed within myself, even dating Bill a few times. I even let him kiss me, but it was like kissing my dad, and we quickly dropped any hint of romance from our relationship. Our interests after that did not include anything other than being good friends and company for the other. I went to the 4th of July party, wearing a short, thin, blue and white summer gingham checked dress that exposed just enough to make everyone believe that I had gone farther than I had. My buffoon cousins tried teasing me, right up until I kissed Tim, right on the mouth. Then they ran faster than ever just to get away from all of the laughter coming their way. My grandma was distant at first, not able to understand why I wanted to become a girl, but slowly warmed up after I sat down with her, and tried to explain why I wanted to be a girl. I'm sure that she never really got it, but Grandma was extremely pleased that I had chosen her name to be my middle name, and in a generous moment, told me that she had a few bits of jewelry that I could have. We made a date for later that week when I told her I would take her to lunch. As the summer progressed into fall, and I started school again, I reflected on what my first outing as a girl had turned into. Marcy was my best girlfriend, Bill a very close friend but not a lover, and my mother was helping me in every way she could, but the biggest hurdle had been my father. During the 6 times I went home that summer to see him, his attitude around me slowly became that of a protective father rather than a startled angry man. He still did not like the fact that I was turning into a girl, but he grudgingly accepted it, which was more than I ever thought possible. It was also during one of my weekend homes that he told me to see someone and get started in a program, telling me that being all girl was better than being half a girl. It was a gigantic step for him, and to this day I'm not sure he knows how much it meant to me. I tried calling him Daddy a few times, but neither of us were comfortable with that, so I quickly dropped it. During the next months I lost more weight, had my beard removed, and began to develop as a girl, both in body and soul, and every 2 weeks Mom would come to my apartment to check my development, until she finally told me to get rid of all of the padding. Soon after I quit using the padding, I met someone, and unlike Bill, when I kissed Steven, every nerve ending set itself on fire, and we started dating. But the biggest thing in my life was not Steven, it was that together, Mom, Dad, and I became a family again, without the rancor or fear that had defined our lives from the moment first my mother, then my dad, found out about me. Life is good now. I have become a complete woman, a wife, my parents' daughter, and my father's little girl. I now have everything I ever wanted. Dad has come to accept me for the person I am rather than the son he expected, yet once in a while I see a wistful look on his face. I had become a woman, passing on the chance to be the son he expected me to be, but that wistful look of his always passes quickly, because he knows that I have taken his motto to heart, and also found what Father Martin called freedom of the soul. What could possibly be better? That's all for now. See you in the next video, till then take care. Oh yes, next part of this series will be published soon. So, please subscribe to my channel. And to get early access to the content visit my Patreon page. patreon.com/Eden07. Link in the comment and description, thanks.